Hey, and welcome to Strings of Hope. I'm Simcha Tzuf, your host and the improviser of this podcast. Music has been a lifelong inspiration and light to me, starting with tinkering away at the piano in childhood and being inspired by the ancient stories of King David and his healing harp. That early inspiration eventually led me to discover my own path with the harp, which began in 2014 when I built my first harp from a Music Maker's Regency kit. I love playing the harp and teach workshops focused on meditative and therapeutic harp, improvisation, and playing from the heart. But Strings of Hope is about more than just music technique. It's about the stories behind the strings, how passionate artists overcome challenges, dedicate themselves to their craft, and find their unique way of fulfilling their dreams. Because whether you're a musician or following any other calling, the journey of turning passion into purpose takes courage, hard work, and an unwavering belief in what matters to you. It requires the art of improvising our life's path every day and learning how to get up after we fall. In each episode, I'll be sharing conversations with inspiring harpists, builders, and artists from around the world who travel this path together with us and have the wisdom to share with us about living authentically and never giving up on what we love. Today, I'm thrilled to introduce you to Adina Haroz, my first harp teacher. Let's start with this little highlight of our conversation, which is Adina's answer to my question. If you could give your younger self advice today, what would you tell her now?
One of the main things is to know that making a mistake is not a disaster. I used to come home from a concert and remember only my mistakes. Forget about the nice things.
Like.
And you know what happened once? I was just a beginner and I played a melody which opens my CD, Pearls of the Harp. It's called La Source, The Well by Hasselmans. And when the performance was ended, the people who was in charge of recording put it for the people who leave the place to listen to. And I said to him, stop, because I knew that I made a mistake. After many years, I got to this same auditorium, and he said to me, come, I have a present for you. And he put it on, and I didn't believe that I played this way when I was so young, and such a beginner with a harp. So we don't have the whole picture. We keep thinking about the things that weren't good. Allow yourself to make a mistake. Don't judge yourself too badly. That's the main thing I could tell myself as a young person, even a child.
Beautiful. Welcome back to Strings of Hope. What a joy and honor it is to host my first harp teacher, Adina Haroz, one of Israel's internationally acclaimed concert and folk harpists, and the mother of Nitzan Haroz, the principal trombone player of the Philadelphia Orchestra. I was blessed to find Adina after my first struggling months trying to teach myself the harp. Growing up playing the piano, I thought I could learn the harp on my own and gave it my best shot for a few months, until I realized I really needed a teacher. That's when I met Adina. She taught me how to play with natural, thoughtful flow, and how to make the strings of the harp truly sing. Her beautiful metaphors for understanding difficult concepts using easy-to-grasp ideas from nature and animals still accompany me to this day while teaching my own students and performing at concerts. The story Adina shares with us isn't only about the harp, arranging, and composing. Well, we're actually listening to a song from her album Pearls of the Harp right now. Her story is about the courage of a young girl following her passion and learning the harp at a time when, in her own words,
you could count the harpists, including pupils, on two hands.
For the first 2 years of her harp journey, Adina traveled almost every day to practice on a public harp, including Harpo Marx's own personal harp, which was donated to Israel by his family, until she could get a harp of her own. At its heart, Adina's story is about motherhood, following our inner intuition, being at peace with our music even when we're not perfect, and teaching music to the next generation. She's actually currently studying Arabic to enhance her lessons with Arabic-speaking students. This conversation was recorded in Adina's home in Kfar Vradim. Throughout the podcast, Adina shares 2 songs with us. The first is from her CD, Pearls of the Harp, available on Spotify and other platforms. For the second song, I set up a small recording studio in her living room, and Adina plays her arrangement of The Song of the Grasses live on her Lion & Healy 23 harp. We filmed this performance as well, so look out for the video on our Strings of Hope YouTube channel. And now, without further ado, let's dive into the conversation with Adina Haroz. Welcome to the podcast.
Welcome to my house, the Harp Shrine.
So today we have a special guest. It's Adina Haroz, my harp teacher.
Used to be your harp teacher.
Used to be my harp teacher, but once a harp teacher, always a harp teacher. So thank you, Adina. Welcome to the podcast.
Thank you for asking me to be part of it.
And we're actually sitting here in Adina's house, which is in Kfar Vradim, which means the kfar, the farm
Of the roses.
roses.
Yes.
And it's a beautiful house. There's this blue corner with Adina's grand concert harp
Yes.
in the corner. And
Lion
we'll
and
get to
Healy
hear that at the end.
23.
From what?
Lion and Healy
Lion Healy
23.
23.
Yeah.
Cool. Adina, I'd like to ask you some questions about your life as a harpist and a harp teacher.
Welcome. You can start.
Thank you. So tell me about your childhood. What was it like growing up? Where did you grow up? What was your music education like?
Well, I grew up in a family with 7 children. My father was a musician, and he was killed in the Independence War. My mother saw it as legacy to teach all the children music. So we all learned music, and we had a cello player, which was the first cellist of the Israel Philharmonic, a violinist, which was concertmeister in several orchestras, soloist, and a very, very good teacher, violin teacher, a viola player, a singer, pianist, and I played the piano as a child since the age of 7.
7.
Actually, I started a little before, but my first real teacher was 7, when I was 7. And I studied the piano for 10 years. I used to be the accompaniment for I was accompanying my siblings. Mm-hmm. I also played background of dancers just to earn some money. And it was part of my life, practicing, playing. I can't say that I always liked it, Children like to play out. It was times that people went out to play. My mother was very clever. She sent us to play in the neighborhood, but a very limited time, and then we had to come back and practice.
Wow, disciplined childhood.
Yes, and the house wasn't big enough, so it was divided to rooms and corridor and kitchen. Especially Friday before Shabbat, we used to play everywhere, even in the bathroom. Well, the violinist, she liked the bathroom. The acoustic was very good over there.
Yeah.
Pianists couldn't play together, so we had just one piano. So we divided time, and those that were more into it practiced more.
It sounds like our house. We have that. We have our kids fighting. I started practicing in this room first. You go to the other room. No, I want to be in the living room.
But it was the other way around. We weren't practicing to practice, quarreling about practicing.
You had to.
We wanted not to practice,
Right.
because it was a very stiff and hard kind of education. And the direction was towards music. My mother didn't care too much if I wasn't good at school, but playing and practicing was very
That was the
important.
important thing in life.
Yes, in my life.
And your mother also played music?
She was, she had a piano, I believe she bought when she was still in Hungary. She came from Hungary. And, but she wasn't professional. And when she saw that her children growing up in music in this level, she didn't touch the piano. And besides, she lost her husband. She was kind of sad, you know.
Yeah. Wow. And then so you played piano from 10 years till 17. And then
Yes.
when did the harp come into your life? And
At 17, I decided that 1 year I have to do proper school. So I didn't really learn with the teacher, and I hardly practiced. I was concentrating in school subjects. At the age of 18, I had an idea, or one of my brothers says that it was his idea. I can't argue with him, I don't remember. But we decided about the harp. And I was sure that I can't learn harp in Israel. At that time, nobody saw harpists in Israel. I didn't. We didn't have television also, so we can see other players in other orchestra. We went to the concerts of the radio orchestra in Jerusalem. Almost every week I was there. And they brought harpists from abroad. And I liked to see how the harpist looked more than how she sounded. You know, in an orchestra, you don't hear a lot the harp. And I decided that I'm going to play a harp. And my mother started organizing my going to France to study close to my brother, who was in the Conservatoire de Paris, Supérieur de Paris. And she found place for me to live. And then I decided I was not ready to leave Israel. So I went to Tel Aviv, and the secretary there, she said, the best harpist is in Jerusalem right now. She left the Philharmonic, and she's going to play in Jerusalem Orchestra, and she wants to teach. But she meant to teach children, not grown-ups. But she accepted me in the end.
And how did that get about that she...
Well, my mother convinced her. They were both Hungarians, so they spoke between them, and she accepted me.
Worked it out.
Yeah.
How many harpists do you think there were in Israel then? Like, what year was this?
It was... I don't want to reveal my age, you know, but people who will make the account will know by the Independence War. I was a baby then, almost a baby, a little infant, yeah. I think it was... Why don't you make the... I don't remember exactly the year.
It's okay.
65, something like this, yeah. No, 63.
And so your teacher was probably one of the only harpists in Israel?
You could count the harpists, including pupils, on two hands.
Wow.
Then. But the situation changed very quickly.
Was there like any thoughts of, oh, this is like, it sounds like a very hard, it sounds like almost like a child saying, I want to be a, I don't know, like it's like, it sounds like a very hard thing to shoot for. There's only few harpists in the whole country. Did people say, oh, you're not going to be able to do it, or it's too difficult?
There was no time to ask people, you know. The minute I started doing the steps by going to Tel Aviv and going there to Jerusalem, it was a fact. And when I heard the first sounds of the instrument, I fell in love with it. It was moving my guts, you know.
Yeah.
It's an instrument that when you pluck a string, the vibration gets everywhere into the harp, the heart, and when I was playing few notes, I felt like I was a harpist already.
Yeah.
It's not that I needed to play pieces like Concerto by Chopin on the piano. When I had a simple melody, I was so happy.
So it was like a place of more expressing your, like you felt more connected in a natural way to the harp than
I
the
don't
piano.
know, it's very easy to say it now, but then I just was curious and I was happy and I felt something special happening to me. That's what the reality was for me. And I remember that after several months, I was sure that I was a real harpist. And my sister, who was the concertmeister in Haifa Symphony, she wanted to encourage me to come and play in the orchestra. And my teacher started laughing and she said, who heard it that after 2 months of learning you will become a harpist in an orchestra? And later I understood her.
Yeah.
But my sister thought, she plays so nicely, why doesn't she come and play with us?
I like to call that love at first sound instead of like love at first sight.
You know,
like
I don't always call it love because it was a kind of reality for me. I was in the music and what I was doing that time was the right thing for me at that moment. I didn't think about whether I love the harp more than the piano, but I was into it.
Mm-hmm.
And very quickly I got gigs to play, because my teacher, and it wasn't a mistake, it's a psychological mistake. Because a teacher and a mother, there is something similar between them. And the fact that they were both Hungarian, So whenever she got a gig, she gave it to me because she didn't want to do anymore. Wow. So I played in the Knesset, I played in the president's house. I played in universities, in ceremonies. And I had several pieces that I kept on playing again and again. And actually, I had no time to learn new repertoire because I was busy performing all the time.
How long did you learn before you started performing?
It started after 2 months.
2 months.
But the first one was playing for Isaac Stern, who came maybe he was donating something to the Academy of Music. So between the pupils, I was one of them. And later, after several months, I learned really nice pieces. And I could play after maybe half a year or so. I could play melodies that were very convincing. Mm-hmm. And when I played 2 years, there was a competition in Israel, the International Harp competition. It was the second one. Of course, I didn't participate in it, but I played pieces from the repertoire of the competition. And my teacher was one of the judges. And she said to me, you played this piece nicer than everyone else.
Wow.
Sorry for talking like this about myself. I don't do it frequently.
Yeah.
But I remember her saying it about the piece by Sergio Nata, the Israeli composer. Mm-hmm. She said, nobody understood it like you did.
Wow. And what was your teacher's name?
Clara Sarvash Weisgerber.
And how's her story? How did she...
She was a daughter of a physician, very intelligent one, and he took her a lot. The family took her to operas, and she played probably very good. And she went even to the Vienna Symphony to participate in an audition for the harp part, although the orchestra didn't occupy women at all at that time, and she was accepted. But she didn't want to take the job.
She applied for it and got accepted, and she didn't want to take the job.
She didn't want. She said, I did it as a sport. And then she was asked to come to Israel, but I believe it was by Huberman, who collected the musicians from all around Europe. Mm-hmm. And she played in the Philharmonic Orchestra almost at the beginning. And this was before the Second World
For the War of
War.
Independence. Oh.
Yes, and that's how she was saved from being in the war itself.
Yeah.
And here she got married to one person, and later she had the second marriage, which was Weisgerber. And when he died, she moved to Jerusalem. It was the end of her quite long period of playing in the Philharmonic Orchestra.
Yeah. And tell me about how, so like you were learning from her classical pieces and how...
Actually, I learned from her the basic technique of the harp.
Okay.
Because as a pianist, I had very good teachers. And I was, one can say, accomplished musician already when I started the harp. What do you mean accomplished? There's never, you can never be really accomplished. But I had a lot of education in musical aspects from all kinds. And she gave me the basic technique of the harp. And I can't say that she didn't say anything about how to play the pieces, but this was coming to me very naturally.
So you were taking the pieces that you knew on piano and
No,
converting them
not
to the
that
harp?
time. I played just the things that she gave me. Harp, classics, and Israeli music, modern music, because the International Harp Contest encouraged Israeli composers to write for the instrument. Actually, it was part of the agenda of the competition to choose every time a piece by an Israeli composer with a competition for this, special competition for the composers. There were a lot of pieces written that weren't accepted. And later in my career, I played several of them. People heard me and they said, I wrote a piece and nobody played it.
Oh, wow.
So if it was a good piece, I played it. And later I recorded disc, vinyl, you call it?
Like an
Israeli
album.
music for the harp. And it was a project of the Israeli Institute of Music. It was paid by them and manufactured by them, produced, that's the word. And there are many Israeli pieces in this taklit,
In the album.
album, yeah.
Okay, and then when did improvising and composing come in your life with music?
Well, I think that even as a pianist, I like to improvise. I didn't improvise in the style of jazz. It was a kind of free improvisation. And with the harp, I found it very interesting that when I had my troubadour harp, which is smaller and was quite an old instrument I found in Haifa one day, and I bought it for concerts in schools. Later I learned that it's not enough for schools. I had to bring my grand harp to the concerts in schools as well. But when I had a return of my own later in life, on stage was the concert harp, the troubadour harp, and a laptop harp, a small 22 strings harp that I put on my laps. And the troubadour harp, when I was standing beside it, enabled me to improvise mostly in a tonalic manner, like I was a channel for something that came into me. I was just standing and improvising.
And like live in front of...
sometimes live, sometimes for myself. And I had a feeling that this instrument's echoing something in me very easily when I was standing. Usually when I played on it, I sat.
Yeah.
But when I was standing, it came to me very easily. And sometimes I did it on the concert harp as well, but not too many.
It was easy for you to improvise on the troubadour.
I felt as if on the troubadour, that is very limited in chromatic music, there was no demand of playing versatile chords of classical music. When I came to the grand piano, the concert harp, I felt as if I'm boring myself up. You know, I needed to play it in a style that is more developed.
Yeah.
And I had no tools to do it. Not because I couldn't move my legs, because I was not trained in the style of jazz and pop music. But when I go to the piano now, it's easier for me to play chromatic music and improvise in a chromatic way.
So it was like something about the simplicity of the troubadour that brought out the
You
the
mentioned
connection.
it right. That's exactly it.
Right.
There was no demand, and what I could do, and he said to me, "Thank you."
Right. I find that with improvising when I'm working with students on that it's really about going to the simplest like basics of just playing a note and listening how it sounds and
Yes.
playing back, and it's like the simplicity is what brings out the
Yeah. You know, people don't always know, maybe your audience will know it, that the troubadour harp can change the note from flat to sharp, or from flat to natural, in a way that you have to move one of your hands to do it.
with the
And
levers.
if you do it in one octave, it doesn't happen automatically in the other octave. And this makes it a little bit limited.
Yeah.
Sometimes it can help.
Yeah.
Because if you need this F sharp in one octave and you don't need it in the other, you don't have to do it.
Right.
But on the concert harp, it's a different system.
Right.
And then if you press one pedal, all the Fs become F sharp.
Right.
And if you need a chord that includes sharp and natural at once, you can't do it. Just if you use enharmonic notes. But we are not going to get into these details now.
That's actually sometimes I've gotten to very interesting improvisations where I forgot one of the levers on an octave up,
Yeah.
and then the harp was split, and without realizing, it brings really interesting pieces sometimes.
Yeah,
And,
so that's what I call free improvisation. You're not limited to rules
Right.
of harmony.
so there's one of the songs from your album, Pearls of
The pieces.
the Harp. One of
Yeah.
the pieces from your album is you improvising. It's called Improvisation in a Melody.
In a folk style.
Improvisation on a Melody in Folk Style.
Yeah. So first I did the melody in folk style. It's my, I call it, I don't always call it my pieces. You know, sometimes I get up early in the morning before dawn and I hear a melody in my head. So I go straight away and write it down. So this was one of them, because I was thinking when I recorded Pearls of the Harp, in the beginning it was meant to be on a cassette, which had two sides. And the second side, the first side needed another 2 minutes or so. So this melody came to me, I wrote it down, it was perfect for it. But then when I made the CD, I needed another 5 minutes. So I took this folk song, the melody in folk style, and I made an improvisation on it. And I think that's what you meant. You
Yeah.
want to
Yeah, and
put
this
it.
happened. When did you make this improvisation? This was in the
When I was
studio?
recording the CD, yes, in studio.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, on the spot.
So like, we need another song, and then you
Yes,
just beautiful. So
I needed several minutes more.
yeah.
And I didn't have, at that moment, something in my repertoire that suited the CD, so I made this improvisation.
Okay, so let's listen to that. And when I heard this the first time, I right away it was very powerful for me, because
Thank you.
there's like this kind of people have this like way of thinking, oh, classical harpists don't improvise or whatever, and this is a great example that that's very not true in the
You know,
root.
some of my colleagues, flutist, clarinet, trombone, even my son, who plays the trombone, found it difficult to improvise in the beginning, and I tried to encourage them. You didn't mention it, but I have a book with a CD called Why Not?
Mm-hmm.
And we have their piece that we are all improvising. I gave them a basic idea, and we are all improvising.
Together.
Each one by himself, and then together. And I made some editing by using elements that I wanted to add to it, like racing horse. Ta-tum, 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 ta-tum. It's a very sweet thing, and it's like a present I got from, I don't know, from God. All this improvisation of the musicians, they are all very good musicians. My brother, the cellist, Michael Meltzer, the flutist that I played with many, many years, the singer, Miriam Meltzer, and my son, Nitzan, we all improvised, they all improvised, but in the beginning it was hard to convince them. Later they dared, and they did it fantastic.
Nice.
In a fantastic way, yeah.
So here's the song Improvisation on a melody in folk style. beautiful. That's an improvisation on a melody in folk style.
Thank you.
I thought that really cool that you had this for the book that you were talking about, how you met with these musicians and encouraged them to improvise, and then by the end they were all
Actually,
playing.
the idea in the beginning was to record a CD with friends.
Mm-hmm.
And the friends became, some of them family members, and some of them people that I played with many years. And the trio with the harp, flute, and singer, we got some prizes from the radio and the Ministry of Education for our performances of other pieces.
Mm-hmm.
But then I asked them if they are willing to record with me, and they all accepted. And I asked my daughter, who is a graphic designer, to make like a small book to put in the CD so children can take it out and look at it. And it should look like something for children. And she was so serious working on it that it grew up and became a book.
Mm-hmm.
So in the end, we had to put the CD in the book. Now I have something like code. How do you say it in
Like
English?
a QR code to
Yes,
scan?
yeah, instead of CD.
Mm-hmm.
Because in shops it fell between the chairs, as we say in Hebrew. They didn't want to keep the book with the CD. They were afraid people will steal the CDs.
Mm-hmm.
So it didn't go too well. Now I have it in this system that it's easier.
Mm-hmm. And can you tell me more about this book?
Well, it has some classical melodies like The Swan by Saint-Saëns and The Black Swan by Villa-Lobos and Bach's Siciliana and some other very famous pieces. But actually I wrote, it was a kind of improvisation, a simple melody called the Flower Song, and I'm playing it on the harp and then on a double harp, which I recorded myself twice, and then trombone and harp, cello and harp, so children can hear it, and singer sings words that I wrote for it. Mm-hmm. They can listen and ask themselves what kind of instrument I prefer, which way it.
Oh, so it's a book for, like, the ideas for children to be able to experience hearing different instruments.
You know,
and
I
help them
didn't
to
have
pick.
an agenda.
Okay.
I wanted to record music with friends. And then came the story, and the story just, was woven inside the whole project. And when I entered the recording studio, I had the idea, why don't we do it once this way and once that way? And the whole thing just created itself from a different perspective of things.
What's the book called?
It's called Why Not?
Why Not?
And the idea behind the Why Not is the fact that I wrote a melody that is not something that people write today. It's a very simple melody. It could have been written 200 years ago or 100 years ago. And the fact that it's not original, who cares? Why not?
Mm-hmm.
That was the idea. And there was another why not in the in my thinking. Why not play with friends? Why not listen to it and decide which one we like more? Mm-hmm. All kinds of why nots. So
nice.
And I wrote a melody. Forgot about it. I had some lessons for a composition with a composer in Israel. And I wrote a melody for harp and cello. Mm-hmm. And again, it was not in a style that you write today. There was no something special to say, I'm a composer. I don't find myself a composer. I just made an exercise. I wrote a melody. And then I said, why not? Who cares? I write this way. I don't call myself a composer. I'm not Stravinsky, I'm not Ravel, and I'm not even one of the Israeli modern composers. I just wrote a melody. Why not?
Why not? Nice. Also, why not learn the harp? Or why not? Why not? Yeah. So I'm interested in hearing if you were, like when you learned the harp, then how did you go about getting your first harp? There must have barely been any harps in Israel. Like it seems like people in general have this idea that harpists are just chosen people that are born with a harp or lucky people that their grandfather gave them a harp or something.
Yeah.
You don't realize
even today, I had a student coming to try and have a lesson with the harp. And her mother heard what it means to play a harp. And she's grown up, 15 or so, and she looks to me very talented. In no time, she will need a big harp. Mm-hmm. And she heard how much it costs. She said maybe she will take another instrument. It's a fact that nobody goes like I went then. I said, I'm starting. We'll see what happens later. Mm-hmm. So when I went to my teacher, there was a harp in the Academy of Music, which was together with the Conservatoire of Jerusalem, the Conservatorium. And there was a harp there. I think they got it from the competition in Israel. They brought several instruments and they bought a student-style harp, number 14, I think it was called. And I went there and practiced every day at the conservatorium, at the harp school, the music school.
So you started without a harp?
I started without a harp, and of course I didn't come all the week because there was Friday and Saturday, which it was closed, and I was from a religious family. But I was there at least 4 or 5 days a week. And I was after high school, and not yet in the army. And later, because I was so developing in the instrument, I decided not to go to the army. And I could do it very easily, as you know. As religious girls can get permission not to be in the army, which later I didn't feel good about it. But that was my reality. And I practiced there more than I practiced ever in my life.
Wow.
Because in the beginning, I did it just for my mother. She wanted me to play, so I played. I can't say that I didn't enjoy it. One of the best teachers that I had was a famous pianist called Jérôme Leventhal, who performed all around the world. He was from the United States.
You learned piano with him?
Yes. And I learned very important pieces with him, and I enjoyed it very much. And I did practice for his lessons, but not as I practiced with the harp. Because the harp playing and studying, it was all my will. Nobody stood behind me asking me to practice. I did it by myself, first time in my life.
Wow.
And people were very curious. They saw me practicing in the so-called Museum of Instruments that was there. Later they moved it to the...
You became a part of the museum.
Yes, I was part of the museum. Although I took the harp from the wooden case and put it back in the wooden case each time I practiced. Mm-hmm. And the wooden case wasn't nice. It was in a certain corner. It didn't have a nice shape. But that's how it was. It was pupil's harp. I mean the style, pupil's harp. And later I was even witnessing the donation of the family of Harpo Marx, donating the conservatorium, his harp, one of his harps, and was donated to Tel Aviv.
Uh-huh.
His widow came with his son. He was very handsome, very nice looking young person. And they brought the harp, and there was a little something metal written on it, donated by the family of
Whoa.
Harpo
You played
Marx.
on it?
I played it on it a lot. I had
Oh, wow.
lessons on it. Yeah, it was a nice harp. Not the 23, I don't remember the style exactly, but the classical harp, there are many that look the same.
That's interesting. Why do you think they chose to donate it to Israel?
He was Jewish,
Oh, there you
Harpo
go.
Marx.
Right.
I think his wife wasn't, but maybe he wrote in his
In his
will.
or something.
I don't know. Or maybe she
Wow.
did it because she felt that's where it has to go.
Wow, that's a very cool story.
Yeah.
So tell me about you had a duo with your son.
I first want to tell you, I was told that I have to tell it, that I got scholarships from the American Israel Foundation
Mm-hmm.
many times for my harp studies.
For learning.
Yes, and they even helped me with the buying of the new instrument later when I bought my first.
Oh,
harp.
right. So how did I'm sorry, I completely missed that. How did you go about getting your first harp
After 2 years, my teacher said to me,
you were playing without harp for 2 years?
yes. She told
Wow.
me there is a competition again in Israel, and Line and Hill is bringing instruments for the people who participate to practice on, and also for, advertising the instrument. And she said, if the instrument is here already, it will be cheaper for you to buy it. So I went and tried the instrument and decided to buy it, but I wasn't from a rich family.
Mm-hmm.
So I got all kinds of help. I was probably talking to the American Israel Music Foundation. I don't know if they are called it Music Foundation, the foundation, American Israel Foundation, something like this. And the headmaster of the music school, her name was, I just forgot it now. If I'll remember later. And she talked to some people, and there was someone who donated money incognito, Later I found out.
To help you get your harp.
To help me. Several people helped me getting the harp.
Wow.
And the fact that I was a war
Survivor?
orphaned.
Oh, orphan. Right.
Orphaned. The Ministry of Misrad HaBitachon, of
Ministry of
Security.
Security.
They had a department to help the people that were part of this thing, losing the father or the husband. And I got the harp without taxes, which then was 100% taxes.
100%. Double the amount
It was
of the harp.
so expensive, and I had to pay 100%.
Wow.
So I was released from this.
Wow.
Is it right to say released?
Yeah.
This is more or less the story.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's very strengthening story for people that don't have a harp
And
to play.
this is the shape of the harp. You see, the soundboard is not getting wide. It's straight soundboard. And it was the style special for pupils, which was cheaper in at least 30% than the orchestra harp.
Well, we're actually sitting here in Adina's living room, and she's pointing at a beautiful painting of her playing on this student Leonin Healy harp. So that's what...
It was made by my ex-husband.
Mm-hmm. Oh, he was a painter?
Yes. It was a hobby, but he was very good at it.
Yeah.
He's still.
Mm-hmm. You look very young in that painting. Oh.
I was younger.
How old
I think I was pregnant with my daughter then.
Wow.
My third child.
Wow.
Yeah, it's something like 5 years after I got married.
Mm-hmm. So tell me about how family life fit into music and your career? And
I think you should ask everyone, because there's not a person who is like the other. I was very much into music, but family life was very important for me as well. And the fact that I could see that the children come home when I'm at home and help them with homework and things like this, although they didn't need a lot of help. But I was cooking, I was looking after the house and everything. And when I had to perform, it was usually in the evening.
mm-hmm.
So Uri, who was my husband then, he used to take over when I went to perform. I wasn't in a orchestra as a regular player, so I didn't have to be out of home every evening. But I had many performances.
Mm-hmm.
So when I went out for a performance, he took over. And it was very important for me that the children will have a parent. Actually, when I got married, I lived in Eilat for 6.5 years.
Six and a half years.
Yes. And
Wow.
then I was not playing.
Mm-hmm.
I almost didn't play. So I was a perfect mother for children. The only one who maybe suffered a little bit from my performing was my daughter, who was 1 year when we returned to Jerusalem.
Mm-hmm.
And as I returned to Jerusalem, I straight away got a lot of work.
Yeah.
I was replacing in orchestras, I was playing chamber music, I was performing in places like I told you for ceremonies, and I hardly played in private things like weddings, but I did play in special occasions for families like Memorial Day,
Mm-hmm.
or someone celebrating 60 years old,
Yeah.
But always when in places that I could give a whole program. And later I had a place in the old city in a private museum. They wanted me to play like David.
Okay.
They made
People have asked me to do jobs like this before.
They made some excavations underneath their home.
Mm-hmm.
They were millionaires. They had a home, but they had to stop in a certain time because they were risking the other houses that they will all fall inside the hole that they were digging.
Mm-hmm.
And they decided whatever they had to show people who came in trips to Jerusalem in how do you call it when a bus driver brings family, the whole people of the group.
Like a tour group?
A tour group, yes. So they were entering the place. They got a short lecture about the excavation and the process of how they did it. And then I had to play. So I was playing for people who didn't know what they're coming for. They had no idea. They didn't buy tickets for concerts. It was only in the responsibility of the guide. If he understood that it's something good, he took the whole project. He could take only the lecture and some food or some refreshments, or take also the concert. Mm-hmm. And I was very expensive then because I had no idea what it means to charge people for what they had experienced in this place. And I was paid like a real concert. And each time she said to me, now you'll play shorter. Play just 25 minutes. Then she said, play just 10 minutes. It's enough. And play like, one day I said, maybe I will play minus.
Play what?
Minus, without playing.
Oh.
And I was waiting a long time for the guide to arrive, Sometimes they said an hour and they came so late that I was dried out.
Yeah.
But the people were very happy hearing the harp. And when I left Jerusalem after my divorce and I went to Zichron Yaakov. I looked for a place to make something like the same without excavation. And I was bringing I was giving the group a whole concert. I mean, it wasn't a concert like you go to the Philharmonic, but it was a concert in which I explained about the harp playing. I showed the differences between the instruments. I played folk music, classical music, improvisation. If it was Hanukkah, for example, I would play a melody for Hanukkah.
So instead of working in someone else's house and them telling you them not understanding the harp, you opened up your own.
She understood in a way that she admitted that she liked my playing.
Yeah.
She tried others to get it cheaper,
right.
And then she returned to me and she said, frankly, what you're doing, nobody did.
Right.
But when I got to Zichron Yaakov and I had finally my own auditorium with the help of the owners of the place, he was a son of the ancestors of Zichron Yaakov. Is it right to say ancestors?
Yeah, ancestors.
The beginners. No, the people.
He was
who
a descendant. His parents are the ancestor or his grandparents.
Yes, I mean he belonged to them, and it was a very lovely place. People loved to come in, and they were looking after the garden. It was very nicely kept. And I was playing, and they were in charge of the invitations and the money and the refreshments. And I could do whatever I want. I remember one day when I was in a harp festival in Czechoslovakia, I think it was, a harpist that I know many years, since one of the first harp congresses that I was in. How do you say it was? Intended? No.
Attended?
Attended, yeah. We made a little walk in the town, and I told him about my place, and he said to me, he's an important orchestra player and also a soloist, and he said to me, you don't know how I envy you. You can decide what you play, how much you play, in what way, and how to explain and everything. And he meant it. And I was lucky. First of all, I had a place to practice my new pieces. I could play over and over and get used to them. And I had the chance to enrich people's knowledge about the instrument and music in general.
So that was like it was a form of livelihood, like you're in. That was like a job for you, like having your own harp.
That's how I earned my living then. Yes,
yeah.
It wasn't much. You know, unlike what I did in Jerusalem, I had to see that the place was it was earning the money, but people will come, because if I charge too much, there were times that I thought that a person pays like a falafel, mana falafel. How do you call it?
Really, you charged like it would cost
I mean,
a person
if you
to
counted,
get
but then I said to my partners, "Come on, it's too little," and the person who was in charge, the man there, his wife was very happy with everything that happened, but he kept the books, and he said to me, "But what happens if they are not going to come?" I said, "So we'll play less concerts." I'm not able. I can't play 5 concerts a day and ruin my hands and get so little money. So I prefer to play some less concerts and get paid more logically, not
and that
falafel.
Worked out?
It was okay.
Yeah.
And we had this auditorium for 13 years.
Wow.
And I did a lot of things over there, many, many concerts, and also the chamber music concerts once a month, more or less. And we had our own people coming and returning each time. But one day my partner saw that we're not growing up anymore. And he said, what do you think? If we are going to lose some money, are you going to pay from your ticket for the expenses? We didn't have much expenses, you know. But that's how he put it. And I said, well, it depends. If 1 month I'll have to pay 500 shekels, I will. And we went to the accountant, and he closed the thing in front of my eyes. And I could be very disappointed, but I said to myself, probably it's time. So for 3 years, I just taught their pupils, and I went on performing all over Israel when I was demanded. When they demanded my concerts, which I did before as well, but a little less. And one day I said to myself, I have 2 families of my children living in the north. Why should I sit here and drive every week twice to see my grandchildren? By then I had grandchildren, small and sweet and cute. And I decided to move to the north.
You were going twice a week to the north to visit?
Yes.
Wow.
Yeah, I was driving there whenever I could.
Like an hour and a half each way?
No. From Zichron Yaakov.
Okay.
It was one... you're right, almost.
Back then,
yes.
The streets were different.
It was 1 hour and 20 minutes to get to my daughter and a little less to my son. And I decided to try in the beginning to see if I can work here. And I wanted to rent a place for half a week. But something, I already had how do you say it?
Contract?
A contract with someone who rented a place for me. He gave me a place to rent. And he didn't stay in what I meant. I needed a place where I can get with my car to the door of the house. When I have concerts. I had to unload the instrument by myself. And I needed steps to get there, and I couldn't do it. So we broke this contract. No payments, nothing. And I went on and I asked myself, so what am I doing now? I looked for a place for myself, and I found this place.
Where we are now?
Yes. And I said, well, I'll buy it. I sold my house there, and I bought this one.
So for people that aren't familiar with the logistics of Israel, so like living in the center of Israel or in Jerusalem, there's much more jobs and activity, and moving up north is kind of like you're moving to places. Were you concerned about how you could make an income with the harp? It's kind of like moving out to the countryside.
Yeah, in a way it's the same, but I believe that I have like help from my intuition. You can call it as in a way you want. An angel, God, whatever you choose. And 5 or 10 years before, I had like a plan for the future. And I knew that all the jobs that I was doing in ceremonies needed a young blonde girl sitting by a very beautiful harp. Doesn't matter how she plays, she's like the flowers, you know. And I felt that after giving the concerts in Zichron Yaakov, which had a lot of content in it, and not just for the beauty. I was never blonde with long hair, by the way. But I looked good, and I find myself looking good today as well. But it's not like being the flowers of the ceremony. You need to do things that suits your age. And I saw myself in the future, concentrating more on teaching.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what happened. I'm more in the thing of teaching in this area. And I even can say that I volunteered teaching in institutes. They can't pay half the price of what I was earning in a private lesson. And my private lessons weren't the more expensive ones. I was always modest.
Mm-hmm.
But I came to these places, to the headmaster of the school, of the music school, and I said to him, I know you can't pay me what I need to be paid, and I'm kind of volunteering here because I want to develop the harp thing in the north.
Were there any teachers here then?
Nobody.
Wow.
Yeah. And one headmaster said, you made my day when I went there. But it took 1.5 years. He didn't call me. One day, by mistake, I called him. My phone did it without me. And he said, I'm sorry, I didn't have opportunity to make a concert for children to get to know you. And I said, I didn't call for following up. It was a mistake. But then a friend of mine, she was a teacher there, and she recommended. And since then, I'm working in this institute. And the other one, which is called Maroma Galil, closer to where you live, he just called me, the headmaster, Dor Wexler. He called me. And I said to him, but you have to have an instrument. He said, no problem. He did the job straight away. And I have more pupils there than even here in Malot, which is like a neighborhood to Kfar Vradim.
Wow.
And Kfar Vradim itself has a conservatorium, but they didn't ask me to teach there. They took someone else.
They took someone else when you were living here.
But this is not for the
Some
podcast.
people do strange things sometimes.
It's a strange thing.
Yeah.
I was amazed in the beginning, but I don't care anymore.
Yeah.
And I don't think they have a class anymore.
That's, I think, a good lesson is like how to not let other people's actions make ourselves think of ourselves differently.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, it's not that we are not experiencing it. You know, a pupil can behave in a strange way. After you gave him without any limits, he is like, what's the word for this? Disappointing you. Not in the manner of how they play, in the manner of how they behave. But that's their problem. And it takes time to understand it. It's not you, it's them.
Right.
There are all kinds of people, all kinds of pupils, all kinds of parents. And I was lucky enough to have most of the parents that are so close to me. There is this family from Tzfat. They will bring cakes to the lesson to wish me a Chag Sameach,
Happy holiday.
happy holiday. And there are all kinds of people.
Yeah. So tell me about your most rewarding student, like who you've been working with for...
Everyone is rewarding in his way. Everyone. I think that every pupil teaches me something else. I have one who is going to do the recital of the end of school, high school, which is a very good feeling for me because she started with me when she was 6 years old, 6.5 years old, and now she is, I think, 17.
Wow.
And she studied with me first on a very tiny harp in Peter's place. Peter, who is building instruments. And then she moved to a little bigger instrument. And then when I said, it's time for you to have the concert harp, they bought one.
Wow.
And she's playing well. She's playing with nice sound. And she's devoted to it. She comes to every lesson. She doesn't miss lessons. And she's listening to everything I'm telling her. You know, there are pupils that can argue with you about fingering or whatever I tell her, she does. And she doesn't do it in a way of, without flexibility. But she understands that I have something to give her which is good for her. So in this manner, it's very rewarding. But there are some other pupils that can... Sometimes I work very hard to achieve something with their studies, but still I see the development of them. I see what I studied from them, what I get from there. And every experience is something to study from and to develop from. Even the bad things.
Yeah. So can you tell me about your... We're just about to finish up. I'd like to hear about... you told me that you play with your son, who's a trombone player.
Yeah, my son, Nitzan.
One of the most strangest combinations I've heard of before in harp. And
Nitzan went to the United States after the army to get into college or university. He was accepted in Juilliard as well as other places. And in his first lesson, some students told him, there is an opening in New York Philharmonic, but the teacher doesn't send freshmen. You have to be in the fourth year. But the first lesson he said, Nitzan, I'm preparing you for the audition.
Wow.
And he won it.
He had this much potential, like when he came
He is very talented. And he got the job. So he didn't even finish the Juilliard school because he was so busy with the orchestra. But the job was not the first trombone, but the one who... It's first trombone, but it's called the one who replaces if the first one can't play also. And then there was an opening in Philadelphia, and he could get the real first player. So he went there, and there were, again, like 250 competitors, and he won the place.
He got it.
He got it. And since there, he plays there. Before he went to the United States, we had several concerts we did together. Some of them were pieces that were written specially for us. I asked composers that I knew. And some of them were our arrangements of piano parts for the harp or cembalo parts, things like this.
And were other people composing then for harp and trombone?
What I asked the composer that wrote for us were Israeli composers. Later, I met with maybe one or two pieces written originally for this this combination. But most of the things that you can hear are arrangements. The Israeli pieces written for us were from real composers, important Israeli composers. And we performed in Israel several times, and when he was in the United States, we performed in the United States.
Oh, you flew there to
I flew there, and he arranged for me to get a harp from the orchestra player. They all love him, so they give the harp without any charge.
Wow.
And sometimes they were even transporting the harp for us. But now he has a car that he can do it. And we had several interesting concerts.
That's beautiful. Mother and son.
Mother and son, yeah. The first time we performed in Israel, mother and son, there were another mother and son with us. The singer who is with me in the book of Lama Lo, Why Not, played with her son, the trumpet player. And her son was a best friend of my son in the army orchestra in Israel. They were colleagues, and they are very, very good friends until today, friends. And now he has the position of the first trumpet of Israel Philharmonic. And his son, the cellist, has the first cello position in the Philharmonic.
Oh, so they play together?
Yeah.
Father and son.
So they play together in the
Beautiful.
orchestra.
We have to get the three of you.
Yeah. Well, Nitzan doesn't play in the Philharmonic. He plays in Philadelphia Orchestra.
Okay.
And I don't play the harp in Philadelphia. You know, someone asked me once, why don't you go to Philadelphia and find your career over there? I said, no, I'm not living in Israel. And not living Israel. I am the person who has to be here.
Yeah.
I can go and perform and be in harp congresses. And I was in the committee of several harp congresses. But I live here.
Well, that's a pretty big statement. Like you're right now in Kfar Vradim, we're how many kilometers from the Lebanon border? It's been very noisy here recently, you know?
Yeah. There was time in the war that it was very difficult.
Yeah.
I'm not a frightened person, and I have my own shelter room at home. But I used to move the harp when I was not practicing to a corner that looked to me safer, not from real bombs, but from yes. So my harp was standing here behind a wall and not close to the glass. And finally now it's in its place in the corner that I'm used to
now that we have a
play
ceasefire. Okay, so I think we're going to wrap up. To end, we're going to hear you play live a song. I'm going to record it here. I have some microphones on your Leon and Healy. But before we get to that, I'd just like to ask you if you have advice, if you could be now talking to yourself when you were younger, or to other people.
Maybe before that, let's talk a little bit about this melody that I'm going to play.
Oh, okay.
It's an improvisation.
So tell me about the
melody. Sometimes people ask me to prepare something that they like, a song or a melody. And this one, even before this, I played it several times. It's a melody by Breslav.
Rabbi Nachman of Breslav.
Rabbi Nachman, and the melody itself was written down by Nomi Shemer, the Israeli songwriter and composer. And I took this melody in my own simple way. I wrote several notes to make a kind of accompaniment, and I don't always keep to it when I play it. I can improvise around it. But this is something my pupils play already. And one of my pupils is going to play in her bat mitzvah. She's preparing to play it. So this is about that. Now,
I think this is actually when I was learning with you. So first we started with the regular pieces, like classical pieces, and I think that this song, Shirat Asavim, is actually one of the first real, I don't mean real, but songs that I knew that I played on the harp.
Yeah, and you didn't mention the fact that I taught you basic technique of scales and exercises, more than music.
Yeah.
Like me, you were already a musician in a way.
Right, I started on piano from childhood, and then.
So what I tried to give you is a little basic technique for the instrument.
Right.
I didn't dream that you will build your own instrument and make such nice things with your family and play for tourists and for people who invite you to perform as a family.
Yeah.
It's very nice what you achieved.
I didn't think that it would get to that either.
Yeah, very nice. What did you ask me before? If I talk to myself as a child,
So yeah, if you have any, like, if you could give advice to up and coming harpists or people that are trying to follow their dream about learning the harp, or yourself as a child knowing the difficulties you go through later in life, what could you share with them?
there is a lot, of course, but one of the main thing is to know that making a mistake is not a disaster. I used to come home from a concert and remember only my mistakes. Forget about the
I know
nice
what that's
things. And you know what happened once? I was just a beginner and I played a melody which opens my, by the way, it opens my CD, Pearls of the Harp. It's called La Source, The Well by Hasselmans. And when the performance was ended, the people who was in charge of recording put it for the people who leave the place to listen to. And I said to him, stop, because I knew that I made a mistake. After many years, I got to this same auditorium, and he said to me, come, I have a present for you. And he put it on, and I didn't believe that I played this way when I was so young and such a beginner with a harp. So we don't have the whole picture. We keep thinking about the things that weren't good. Allow yourself to make a mistake. Don't judge yourself too badly. That's the main thing I could tell myself as a young person, even a child.
Beautiful.
Thank you.
So this song is Shirat HaAsavim, which means the song of the grasses. And yeah, it's a beautiful song.
The idea is, if we zoom in and get closer to the grass, which looks like a meaningless part of nature, unlike trees or flowers, we can hear the music of each leaf of the grass that influences the shepherds. It is said in the song that every shepherd has his own music. So do the leaves of the grass. I believe that this is a kind of manifestation of God, and God is love. And if we get closer to the grass more often and listen to the music, we can project more love in the world. That's how I play the music. That's what I believe. And I hope that there will be more love in the world. The song is much deeper. You can dive in and get more information. But that's what influences my playing.
This beautiful tune was composed by Nomi Shemir to the poetic words of Rabbi Nachman of Breslov, which I think so well shares the beauty and message that Adina is bringing to us here. The words to the song are, "Know that each and every shepherd has a special tune of their own. Know that each and every blade of grass has a special song of their own. And from the song of the grasses is made the song of the heart." Thanks so much for joining me for another Strings of Hope episode. It gives me so much joy to share these stories of hope with you. You can check out the show notes for a link to Adina's music. Until next time, stay tuned.